Good morning and a warm welcome to KBC News Check. You're just in time for a comprehensive check on what is happening in the country. And of course, we're going to discuss a number of issues. A lot is happening. This current week, we are having the Ma Cultural Week, which encompasses 4 counties at the Narok, Kajiado, Laikipia, and Samburu. And we are expecting the head of state to be officially launching that cultural week. And we'll be crossing over there to have more and have a feel of the Ma culture, but that's a little later. We are having a number of events that we are also keeping tabs with. We are also looking at the sensitization meeting for religious leaders on prevention and treatment of HIV, drugs, alcohol, and substance abuse among boys and men. That is currently happening at the Bomas. Climate Change Forum is happening right here in the capital, and also we are also following parliamentary committee meetings and also the KDF Taekwondo Championships 2023 at the Moi Air Base. That is just a glimpse of how the news outlook is going to be looking at. But for our discussion, we will be looking in the first hour. We are keeping tabs on the open learning. Of course, there have been a number of issues that have come up in regards to the university funding, but we will not be looking at that right now. But if you remember 2 weeks ago, exactly 2 weeks ago, the head of state did commission the first open learning institution in the country, the Open University of Kenya. But something funny is that this idea was mooted in the 90s, and the current president, William Ruto, started this program when he was the education minister. Back then, we were calling them ministers. And that idea did not quite conceptualize or take off. But a couple of years later, we're talking about the year 2023, that idea and dream is very valid because it will open the first doors to the first cohort of students next month, and it is in Machakos County. That is the live discussion that we will be looking at in this hour. For questions, suggestions, or even where you are watching us from, we highly recommend you get in touch with us on our social media platforms. Don't forget to follow and also to subscribe. My name is Njue. Lensa Odingo is my colleague on the bottom right of your screen who will be handling the sign language interpretation. And without further ado, allow me now to introduce my guest. My guest has been on the radar of open learning in the country for a number of years and is quite instrumental in establishing the first. And if you don't know, the University of Nairobi did do a partnership with a university in Tanzania, which he will be telling us all about it. And that dream is now slowly becoming a reality here in the country. What are some of the benefits of open university learning? What are some of the challenges that we are having? Of course, we have a number of challenges in the university sector in the country. Those are some of the aspects we will be looking at this morning. Again, get in touch with us on our social media platform. Peter Iyelo, who is a retired senior technologist at the University of Nairobi. Karibu sana, Peter. Wow, we were having a discussion off mic and off the air, yes, and where we talked about the open learning in the country is not something quite new. Yes. It is indeed the first university that we're having at the Konza Technopolis, yes, but it's not the first time that we're having the open university learning idea in the country. Kindly take us through the history of open learning in the country.
Yes, that's, the issue of open learning started many years back, the University of Nairobi. Many of us have known of the parallel programs where students, those that never had chance to go to the university direct, were able to actualize their dream when the University of Nairobi started distance learning. And that time, the University of Nairobi, Kikuyu campus, printing section, because Kikuyu campus is a college of education and external studies. The word external studies there stands for open learning, where now the printing section was charged with responsibility of preparing materials for these students so that wherever they are, they were able to go through these units, and then they come to the university for only introduction of the same unit and for the exams. But the most of the things, they were doing it at their rural areas. So the most people that were affected are primary school teachers. They didn't have chance. Now their certificates for primary enabled them to enter into this program. In the same note, Tanzania had already started it. It's called Open University of Tanzania. And so they didn't have a unit that were able to produce materials for them. So in 1994, the University of Nairobi and the University of Open Learning of Tanzania entered into a memorandum of understanding, whereby the University of Nairobi, through the printing section, were taxed to prepare materials for those students in that university. So we are actually the people who are generating this. Our professors will write the materials, and then the printing section is taxed with the printing it to actualize now to get into a booklet form. Now these books are sent. In the process, they were also paying us a token for whatever we have been doing. So it went like that. 1998, it actually actualized. That's the time we started supplying materials to Open Learning of Tanzania.
And you're also telling me that the idea in regards to open learning in the country, in Kenya,
yes,
was mooted back then when now the head of state was the Minister for Education. Correct. But that idea did not quite pick up.
Yes.
And several years later, the idea is now with us, and next year we are admitting the first cohort at the Open University of Kenya.
In fact, that's why I should thank the President and the Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Armed Forces for the idea that he had when he was a Minister for Education. When he visited the University of Nairobi, he talked to the professors and he urged them to start an open university. And through us in the printing section, Kikuyu campus, we were very happy because we knew very well that we are going to be the first beneficiaries. So we celebrated. But the idea never picked up because you never know. And in this country, and I'm thanking the President because he's fighting two things. He has done one, to open an open learning university, and the second thing is fighting corruption. Might be why the idea was scuttled. God was waiting for him to be the President of the Republic of Kenya to come and actualize this program. I want to say this. The idea, if it was moved at that time, it would have opened most parts of this country because imagine our northeastern brothers. Most of them are they are taking care of our animals. And parents urge their children to go and take care of the animals. They don't have time for schools. If the idea was moved that from 2009 to date, we'll have graduated so many people who are looking after the animals. Now, with this opening of the university, Open Learning University, I'm very happy that the President has actually actualized it. Because now those hard boys and the girls will now learn as they're taking care of their animals. And they will graduate. And they will actually, what they were dreaming to get the degrees, they are now able to get. When this thing takes off, and now with the CS for digitalization, Iyelo,
yes,
it should be encouraged. And those hubs and the digital centers that's going to open up, that nobody should come in between them and Iyelo.
And a quick one, why is it that it's only the University of Nairobi that was able to successfully ensure that they have collaborated with Tanzania to have an open learning institution?
Yes.
Why that Nairobi University only and not other universities? Why other universities did not pick up that idea? Because already the idea was with us.
The idea was with us from 1960s. Kikuyu campus was a constituent college of Makerere. And they started a course called correspondence unit. And this correspondence unit you use if you are there during the radio time. You'll find that a teacher will tune the radio and listen to a broadcaster. And this broadcasting was being done from Kikuyu campus. So they had that idea. Those professors, Professor Amakobe Karani, actually came to actualize it by having now that unit of producing these materials. So why didn't Tanzania capture Nairobi University? It captured Nairobi University because of the professors who are doing education, who are taking education, and they had that idea. In their thesis, they had already written. And I think if we go to the libraries, maybe that's why they picked Nairobi University. Because Professor Karani Amakobe is a renowned scholar in the distance learning programs. And the late Yokonia Odumbe. these are the people who studied those units. And I think that's why Open University of Tanzania picked on those people, and they are able to come together to help them procure materials from the University of Nairobi.
All right, thank you for that history. Now we will look at the open learning in Kenya, and especially now that we have the Open University of Kenya for the first time. That is next month. We're expecting a number of students there. And just a quick one is that that university now becomes the 42nd university public university in Kenya. There are about 36 private universities in the country, and Equity CEO James Mwangi will be the chancellor of that university. A lot has changed since when Kenya and Tanzania were having that, because first things first, technology has really changed how things are done in regards to open learning and especially open universities. Tell us how that has come up and how it has changed the dynamics and of course the curriculum of learning university in the country.
Correct. You know, those days they were using paperwork. Now with the digitalization world, the technology that has come, that now we are able to reach these students through our smartphones, through conferencing, teleconferencing, through audiovisuals, like now what you are doing. So the technology has actually changed, and people are able now to reach and access information using their smartphone. There are certain information that were not available at that time because of procuring of these books. Some of the books that we were using were written many years back. But now the technology has changed how we do things. There's some special units that now are coming up, like dry land agriculture. Dry land agriculture, it has not been practiced very well in our place. It was tried in Kibwezi through the University of Nairobi with Israel, and it took off, but later on, sometime it went down. But now with the digital world, they were able to access information all over the world. It's now a village thing. That what is happening in America can be accessed by our students using the same technology with open learning, and you should be able to open up their brains and to do things so that, like now I'm talking about agriculture. Why agriculture? That now we are celebrating about 60 years of independence, and our people are still going hungry. What is this that is not working well? What is this that is not working well? Yet there are other countries, when we learn, like Israel, that is Arab land. What is happening that we are not getting it? Is it information? No. It was the way that the books that we had were not able to capture that well. But now with the open forum of the smartphones, with the technology, digital technology, you are able to access this information without a problem, complementing what the other lecturers are doing within you. So I believe that the Open University is a breakthrough in the Kenyan history.
All right. And I remember when the president was officially launching the Open University of Kenya in the Konza city.
Yes.
He said that this university will be a game changer, and especially for the Mama Mbogas, Wasewa Boda. He talked about anybody who is quite tight in terms of the schedule that he is having. But I'm looking at some of the courses that the Open Learning or the Open University of Kenya will be fast having. And let me just mention a few. I think this will resonate with you. Bachelor of Cyber Security and Digital Forensic. We are looking at Bachelor of Data Science, Bachelor of Technology Education, Bachelor of Science in Business and Entrepreneurship and Statistics, and Bachelor of Science and Agriculture in Food System. Those are the first courses that students will be learning beginning next month. But looking at some of these courses, they are quite technical, if you ask me. And the Open Learning will supposed to give you an opportunity to be able to flex your work and your studies at the same time. And looking at the Mama Mbogas and the targeted people, these courses are quite technical.
Correct.
They will not pose a challenge?
Challenges will be there. You know, when a child is born, you know that a child has been born. But to go through to maturity, there must be challenges. I believe that the new Open Learning in Kenya will have challenges. But the beautiful thing about it is that this study you will choose at your own opportune time. You have your time for doing your business, you have your time to take care of your family, and you have time to do studies. So you will choose with your professor what time will you be online. It will not affect your business. In fact, it will enhance. Because what you didn't know, like now you are doing mamamboga, what you didn't know, maybe you didn't know how to sell. Maybe you didn't know how to go marketing. Now you will be opened up. So when you do this unit of marketing, when you come to your stall, you will be able to talk to your customer so that you don't lose your customer. Because you have been taught a very good way of attracting your customers. So it's a very good and open learning because you will choose your own time.
The courses themselves that they have started with, don't you think they are a little bit technical? Looking at Bachelor of Science in Agriculture and Food Systems, Bachelor of Data Science.
Yes, they're technical, but the people who are going to run it are also technical. Getting those people to their way. Because what is the work of a teacher? A teacher is to teach you what you don't know, or what you know to what you don't know to what you are supposed to. He will direct you. He starts from the knowns. The knowns is that how have you been doing it? Now this is the way we shall be doing it. And this is the way. And that way, those materials, you don't just come and talk because it is well prepared, it's well researched. And there are those colleges already having those, like now who are our donor partners. They are our donor partners even as we start these programs. They will be able to facilitate us and to go with us because our country, through our president, is a loving president. People will come to support the program. Just like the question you posed is, these are technical subjects. When the then president, Milio Kibaki, said that now free education, people laughed because they thought that there's no money. And they were looking at the number of schools and number of children, but it was actualized. So with this program, they are technical, yes, but the government has all the resources of getting these materials together so that it's put online for our students to go through. Those classes that need the science, they are going to have hubs, digital hubs within the country, in all the counties. Then there is where they go now to share together, where those from that area, they will come together and share and talk. And where if I don't understand this subject, I will ask my friend who will guide me, because university education is sharing. University education, we share. That's why we come into groups and we share.
I remember the president's speech, he talked about not only will this Open University of Kenya give flexibility in how people take up their studies, to also be half the price, and they're working towards ensuring that it becomes a quarter price of other universities. Two things here. One, other than the flexibility and the cost, what are some of the other benefits that open learning provides to learners? And secondly, isn't this going to eat up into other university? Because if it's half price, and you have seen the challenges that we have in the new university funding, could it eat into other university in terms of students numbers?
Beautiful. In fact, if we close our eyes and imagine that all of us are studying from our homes, it will actually reduce the cost of running a university like the University of Nairobi. The lecturers, the technical staff, the administration, the support staff. Now you are learning from your house. Do you need a cleaner to clean your hostel? No, you will be cleaning yourself. So I don't think it will jeopardize the existence of other universities. But what we will now do is that it will now open as you now choose where to go. You choose according to your pocket. Because there are those people who wanted to go to university, my brother, and today they cannot go because the cost of even traveling alone. Like a student is taken from Malaba That's the end of in Kenya, that's to Uganda, then you are taken to Mombasa University. Traveling alone is a cost. Traveling alone is a cost. But with this open learning, that cost has been reduced, which will now enable the government even now to source some expertise from other developed countries, which we were not able to access. Because now we can save. We have saved from accommodation, we have saved from traveling, even food, because you'll have time to go to the garden, prepare your crops, harvest them, and prepare your food, and then have time to learn. So open learning is not going to scuttle other universities, but it's going to give a platform for choice. It's a choice for you to make. It's a choice.
All right. And there are a number of challenges in any new venture that, mostly when government has a new venture, it runs into some speed bumps. But looking at open learning gives some flexibility even for the government. What are some of the challenges that we do expect? Because we are opening up in the next couple of days, and definitely we do expect some challenges.
Challenge number one is that all of us are not able to have smartphones. Number two, electricity. Number three, even if you have that phone, networks in some of these countries, you climb the trees to get access to information so that you can get a network. So the government must know that those are the things, the challenges we are going to experience. That most of this country, there are places where network is still a problem. So they need to address that. And the able minister, Mr. Wala, I know he will do that. He has already done. When the government implements something, they have already done a research, and they know how to counter it. And then they will work with it. As it matures, they also mature with it. The challenges will be there. So those challenges should not deter us from starting it. Students should be encouraged. In fact, not only students, even old people like me, I should be encouraged that there must be something new that I should learn, which I didn't know. So I'm also part and parcel of the open learning, because it is for all ages. It's for all ages. Yes.
And public university for so many years, they have been in quite some debt. Actually, beginning of this year, we were talking about 60 billion that the public universities have had in debt. And over the years, they've operated and churned out graduates each and every year. Why have they never ever thought of open university model so that they may cut down on cost? Just you've said, the open learning cuts a lot of cost. Why haven't public universities right here in the country, or even the private university, taken advantage of the open learning model?
Yeah, they thought when they were starting it, something repeated several times becomes a culture. That's the University of Nairobi. So they wanted to cocoon it for their own. And in the process, you never know how countries run. And I'm very happy for the president that as far as launching this new program, he's also fighting corruption. Corruption has been a problem. If all of us were genuine enough, like the open distance learning of University of Nairobi, it produced students more than the normal internal students. The external students were more than the internal students. But where did this money go? It might have gone to individual pockets without enhancing and saying, let us do this thing and open the whole country. So might be what the president is doing. I'm very happy that's fighting corruption and is zero to corruption. I believe that all people who are charged, even the open university that we have started, which we are getting the students next month, I'm very happy that those people who are going to be there to assist Owalo and Mwangi. Look at equity. Look at equity. Equity, how equity has spread the whole country and beyond. It's because the people inside there are people who are God-fearing. That the 5 cents I'm saving for my brother. I'm saving for my sister. So if what all of us will embrace, like Mwangi is embracing, I believe Dr. Mwangi is going to take the Open Learning University to greater heights the way he has taken equity. The way he has taken equity. Equity has reached Mama Mboga. Equity has reached the Hearts people. So Open Learning will reach Mama Mboga. Open Learning will reach the hearts boy. Open learning will reach the old people like us, and the country will grow together.
All right. There's one challenge that faces many universities in the whole world, and also it's synonymous in Kenya. That is falling student detention and completion rates, where you find that a student has enrolled in the first year. Before we get to the second or the third year, that student has already dropped out.
One, the challenge is money. This student is from a very poor family.
All right. This is something that also we might experience during the open learning. How can we mitigate this? Because we have tried to bring down the cost in the open learning as opposed to other conventional universities. But there's also a challenge that also hits other countries who have elaborate and robust open learning institutions. How can we ensure that we do not meet this speed bump on our way as we kick off the Open Learning University of Kenya?
It is true, those challenges are there. But I brought in the man who is now running the open learning, is Mwangi. I believe he is going to use the same model.
Unfortunately, he cannot ensure that each and every student remains in school. Just like other chancellors cannot ensure that all the students who started at first year have completed the courses.
Correct. We have mentioned about fee. We have mentioned about sickness. Sickness is a challenge. You cannot, if a student starts with you and he feels sick, he cannot continue the education until he is healed, isn't it? He comes back. Two, when he's doing his courses, there are other things that crop up like the parent's person. And the parent was the man paying school for the mother. And all this because of sickness, because of the epidemics that fall in. This student is left alone, is bare. So I believe that those challenges will be mitigated by, number one, is that, example, let's take Mamboga. Mamboga is now going to pay from our own way. So Mamboga should be enabled. And the Hustler Fund has come into play, where Mamboga is going to get money from the Hustler Fund, buy, sell, and pays, and whatever remains, she is able to feed her family, she's able to take to a school. Yes.
And public perception. There are some people who don't quite believe that the open universities, certificates or qualifications or even degrees are the same as for those who went physically to a university. How do we change that public perception?
Is one, a certificate or any course given, a course has been recited. The certificate you are given in a university and a certificate you are given in open learning. I am a beneficiary. I'm a beneficiary of this program. I'm a student of printing. And that time when we were doing printing, most of the schools, it's only Kenya Polytechnic that was doing it. But now Kenya Polytechnic decided to have an MOU with Britain. And some of us who are using the British syllabus by correspondence to study. And the certificate I have from the British Printing Federation is the same certificate that has enabled me to work for the University of Nairobi. Because it is the same certificate, the same material. The thing is, the certificate is a paper, but the knowledge that you get through that certificate is just to honor you of what you have, is to talk about you.
No, the issue now is perception.
The perception is that they want to be seen. But you see now, there's virtual. There's virtual graduation, isn't it?
Yes.
Where they see the professors, where they see the matching, where they see what. But parents will be taught that. Imagine you have been yearning to get a certificate, a degree certificate. You should be encouraged to get it. How you get it, how you graduate, is very important because the center hubs are going to be built. I believe that the Open University will use those center hubs to call the students during those ceremonies and do exactly what others were doing in order for them to believe that truly they have graduated.
And I'm so hoping that the government has an elaborate plan, because Kenyans have that wait and see perception and then later on embrace something. But away from that, we had African Virtual University. It was some place in Hurlingham, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
But a few years, because I was just working just next to Africa Virtual University, but a few months, years, it just winded up. Or what happened to the African Virtual University? And why is it that it's not on the lips of everyone right now? I'm quite sure there's some viewers who have heard about the Africa Virtual University here, and it had actually virtual offices right here.
Yes.
Physical offices, not virtual.
Those are the challenges you have been saying. That when that virtual university came into play, we are not disseminating information to most of the students. They were not able to visualize. They just said, virtual university is offering this course, let me go. So when they went there and they saw what was happening, when they went back to other students, you know, it is information, marketing. If I said, no, virtual university is not doing well, I think I made a mistake to go there. What I will do, I will stop it. So another one will not go. So that challenge of virtual enable now students not to go, to register. So when you are doing business and students are not coming, and you are supposed to pay your lecturers, you are supposed to pay your hostels, surely you will close down. And I think that's why they moved. And they were taken by those people who, first of all, went and sent information to the people that this is what we do. This is what we are going to do. This is how we are going to do it. So the most important thing is publicity. Reaching to the same people that you want this open university to go on. I think that's what the virtue never did. Like if I go back to the KBC, you have got programs for marketing. So you first of all market before you launch what? That particular program. And
I'm talking about 2007, 2008, so technology was not quite advanced as it is now. But away from that, the COVID-19 pandemic challenged each and every sector, including education. And it's just showed us how we really need to leverage on technology to actualize some of the things that we have set upon, and especially in the education sector. Why is it that those lessons universities are not putting into context? Because I'm quite sure a number of universities by now, we are 2-3 years away from COVID, have not put any groundwork in terms of having virtual learning or open learning institution or branches. We even had some university close up some satellite offices in some parts of some counties. Why have not they leveraged on technology and what we experience as a country and as a globe in terms of COVID-19 pandemic to actualize this? Because this is a good idea and cheaper actually. God being God, I think the epidemic was the best for people to change. People used to do things the way they knew it. But when the epidemic came, I believe even now there are so many people doing business online. There's a positive part of the COVID-19 that it enabled us to work from our houses. Yeah? Yes. So now, like what you have said, why have not them impressed, the professors? You know, some of us, me included, might be what I've born. If I buy something in my mind, I don't want to share with anybody. I just want to have my own so that I benefit as a person. But now, this open is going to help us to share what you know and what I know. To give us how you do it and how I do it. You will tell me how this thing is done. So, the challenges, why the universities are not buying it, is because we are coming out from the same old ideas. But the game changer was the COVID-19. It changed so many things. And I think it is now the right time for us to go to this level of digitalization, of doing business, doing everything through the digital world. Because by that time, we learned a lesson. Even churches were closed, but people went now to virtual. But universities are not taking advantage of that. Actually, the Open University will be the first and only in the country where we're expecting that a number, because you do remember companies like Zoom, companies like WebEx, a number of companies came up with ideas just after COVID to ensure that people still work and they can communicate face to face, but now we are looking at 3 years post-COVID, but we are not seeing any university, actually, not any other university, because Open University of Kenya is a government initiative. We are not seeing any of the 41 universities and 36 private universities we have in the country taking advantage of this technology boom that has been occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic.
One is that the environment, they look at the environment. As we started, we mentioned the challenges that we are going to face even with this new university of open learning, that they realize might be most people who are not able to access information through their phones. Even if they access, most of people then never had smartphones. Even if they had smartphones, most of the people didn't have electricity, the roads. So now, with the government initiative, I think now the government has opened their minds. They will come now to realization when they realize that there are no students in their university and still now starting from home. I think with that now, they will be able to come up because they were waiting. You know, as Africans, we were waiting. We wait. We don't want to take the initiative. We don't want to run with the idea. The changing world. You know, COVID came to give us a changing stage. Even doctors were working from home because they were even fearing to interact with people. So you are just being diagnosed and you say, go and buy this drug from the pharmacy, this and this and this. So the digital world has opened up. So to me, the positive part of COVID-19 is that it has opened us to accept new technology. All right.
And as a veteran who has actualized a virtual or an open learning institution, you are part of the Kenya team that also collaborated with the Tanzania. Other than technology, which are the other sectors that we need to increase capacity so that we ensure that the open learning and the more specific, the Open University of Kenya does not run into those challenges? Other than technology, what are other capacities that we need to increase as a country so that we may not only increase capacity for the Open University of Kenya, but also increase capacity to other universities, both public and private universities, so that they may actualize also the open learning model, because it has a number of advantages that the conventional one doesn't have?
Well, what I will say that with the incoming of the Open University, now our colleagues, the professors, the researchers, will go to the villages and disseminate information of the courses they are going to deliver online, digital. In that way, they will be able to attract students to their colleges. But if they sit and wait and advertise, they will not get. The students, the population will be taken over by the open learning. Because if they don't, they just sit and wait. The days of sitting and wait are far gone. Now we have to run. We have to run and run with the world. They have to visit other known universities and see how they are doing. Because I'm told Cambridge, it's millions and millions of students. Like now I was telling you about the printing industry. In the printing industry, 54 countries in the world, they are just getting information from Britain, Printing Industries Federation, College of Printers. All over the world, they were able to disseminate information to all 54 countries. And even the exam is done, the same exam in those 54 countries at the same time and marking the same time. So there's no way you can say, I'm from Uganda, I will tell my friend this exam we did from Watford. No way. So that is the one. You have to run.
Will we get there as a country?
We shall get. If this open learning, with the open mind of my president, Samoei Ruto, I'm assuring you we shall reach there. Given 10 years from today we are talking, if we shall be alive, you'll ask me the same question and I will tell you, my brother, where are we?
All right. Now, there are a number of emerging issues that, because we are talking about the Open University of Kenya and maybe open learning institutions that may come up after that. But as a globe, we are facing a challenge that was unprecedented. that is cybercrime. And we have seen a number of governments being hacked, even a number of hackers try to hack into the government websites. This is something that can also polarize the open learning institutions, because we are leveraging on technology. This is something that I believe there's a number, let me not mention the university that was hacked by some people from Asia, right here in the country, and posted a number of photos that some were not quite good for, and especially for the young ones. But this is something that we are dealing with as a country. Yes. Now we want to scale up the open learning. Yes. This is something that we will always be meeting, a speed bump that we will always be meeting each and every time.
Yes.
How can we circle that and ensure that we do not fall into that? Because if at all, a number, let's say 10 universities are hacked, and they are all offering learning institution, open learning. That would be quite a challenge, to have a number of students who cannot access their exams, who cannot access their learning materials.
Ooh, nice. It is true. Those are challenges. Mm-hmm. But as we talk here now, seated here, I'm very happy. Mm-hmm. Happy in a sense that because our Minister for Mr. Iyelo, we made that challenge, mm-hmm. and he was able to run against it. I believe the things that he had put into place has taken off. That research that he did, mm-hmm. he must have garnered a few of us and put and locked in one room to counter. Because knowledge is power. Mm-hmm. Now that we have been attacked, we are able now to see how we are going not to be attacked again. So I believe that he will work with this, the technology that he has acquired, mm-hmm. to help us circumvent that, to stop it to happen, because it is true, it's a challenge. So we run with those challenges, and the Minister for Digitalization, when he's having these hubs being erected, built in the counties, he will be able also to know that he's starting a program that is likely to be hacked. Mm-hmm. So he should put the defense. Mm-hmm. He should identify people, and these people should be taken to for trainings to counter that, so that every unit, every center should be having that. There must be a full-fledged center. Mm-hmm. Just where you go and get students and put there and say, yes, your work is to check our systems. Who is this trying to hack? And how are we going to stop it? So these students will be put into one room, mm-hmm. and mitigate that. That's a full-fledged section, mm-hmm. to counter, so that we cannot be hacked. I
believe that is why we are also having a number of courses: Bachelor of Data Science, yes. Bachelor of Technology Education, yes. Bachelor of Science in Business. Just as some of the courses, the first 6 courses that will be offered by the Open University of Kenya. But away from that, we're also hosting the Africa Climate Summit. And I've looked at a number of curriculum for the universities right here in the country, and a number are not quite there yet in terms of climate change education or curriculum, or structuring something that tries to help countries in eradication of gases and what have you. But what we are looking at in the Open University, this is a new system. And I believe this is the right moment to inculcate that in not only Open University and open learning facilities in the country, but also in all the universities in the country. Because this is something that we are all facing as a country and as a globe. How do you think this should be married into the curriculum of other universities as well?
Climate change is real. It's real because the rain pattern has changed. It's upon now the researchers, lecturers, mm-hmm. to introduce these units and become a unit in every subject. And to mitigate, the government's already running it, saying that we want to plant trees. We want to save our rivers. People have gone and encroached into our rivers. People have encroached into our water towers. Mm-hmm. It is now that the universities should create these units in every unit, that climate change should be taught, and how do we fight it? What are these good trees that will emit the gases that will counter, so that we go back to the days of the old, The days of the old, we were able to know that if I planted my crop in April, I will harvest it in June. I will harvest in July or August. But today, my brother, you will not. So climate change is real. So it's now a must that we must calculate it into every unit. Whoever is going to study in the Kenyan government must know that climate change is a reality, must pass that unit, because that unit is the one that's going to help him back at home to save this country, so that we stop it. We bring back our water towers. And those people who have encroached into our water towers should be removed. Number two, those people who are in the riparian land, like where the flowing of the rivers, people have gone and taken their eucalyptus plants. Eucalyptus plants are not good for water. Why don't we have?
And this is something that can be embedded in some of the curriculums that we have in the country.
Like when you talk of Oromo River, where we want to get electricity from. Why? Ethiopia is, the forest in Ethiopia is bamboo. So if bamboo can be used to plant along the rivers, we shall save our rivers. We shall save our water towers.
All right.
So those are the units that students must be taught to help us. As the student goes back to the home, he is also able to tell his father that this bamboo is better than eucalyptus. And then there are those trees that are old, people use, the natural trees.
All right.
Yes.
And because we are still on the curriculum, and especially for the open learning, how do we ensure that higher institutions of learning do not are quite dynamic? I say that are quite dynamic to ensure that not only do they cover the usual conventional way of doing things, but they also modernize to reflect modern technologies and also changing ideologies. Just like we've talked about climate change. This is something that you don't find in so many courses, but it can be embedded in the learning institutions to ensure that each and every one of us, because we are affected by the climate change, we ensure that we have mitigating factors.
Correct. We should move away from our lecture halls. We should move away from our lecture halls. Let us go, whatever we are teaching should exactly reflect what we are going to do. When we started, I said, it is shameful that we are 60 years old as a country, but our brothers and sisters are going hungry. And yet when you go to our libraries, we have got volumes and volumes of books talking about the type of crops. There are these orphaned crops. They call it orphaned crops. Orphaned crops now, like Wimby. They don't need a lot of rain, but our research, like Calro, should come out from their offices to their field and educate our farmers. You know, it reached a point where now we didn't even have extension officers. But I believe now with the President Ruto,
with the new government, we have some extension officers.
We'll have extension officers.
Yes.
And those extension officers should be able to make sure that this, if you don't have this crop, you are taken to assistant chief. Assistant chief, you are given a penalty. And the penalty is that you till that land to give. You ask a brother to give you the tubers for cassava, the millet. So what we are going to do, my prayer is that to embrace these changes, we are moving out from our lecture theaters, from our offices, to go to the field and meet the farmers. That the new units that are being offered, we now move to the field. To the field. I think that's how we shall go and embrace. So that we remove that mind of wearing a tie like mine, instead of wearing what?
And the same transition, I can see it in you, because you are very active in printing. You are a printing technologist for the University of Nairobi for a number of years. And unfortunately now technology is leaning towards digital gadgets as opposed to printing. It might be quite a change. But away from that, we are looking at new phones that the head of state promised Kenyans, that there will be less than 5,000 shillings. How will that marry well with the open learning, and especially at the Open Learning University of Kenya?
Come again?
You remember the president promised Kenyans that in the next couple of months we will be able to purchase Kenyan phones assembled right here in the country that will cost less than 5,000. This will more or less help a lot in actualizing the open learning and digital learning in the country.
Yes. You see, coming from the president.
And from papers, from printing to...
Yes. He has actually, he has done, because that's wisdom. He's our leader. He's our leader. He is our leader. He's directing us, and he has told us. So that means now, as he's talking, already the phones are being prepared. Already the phones are being prepared. So he's just waiting for implementation. Because that's the government. The government is always ahead of us. The government should be ahead of the citizens. So when the citizens are doubting, they will come when these gadgets will be given, and they will say it is true, it has taken place. So because they must have shared with other countries that are doing the same thing, and they has asked those countries to come and help us with our people to produce those machines. Yes.
I remember 2 weeks ago the president did launch the Open University of Kenya, that he will be admitting students from next month. Your final remarks?
Final remarks. As we started, this is a new child that all of us should actually talk about it, good about open learning, encourage our families, encourage our country that a new child has been born in the education sector, the school of open learning, so that we are able to reach. There are other small units, other specialized units, the one the Open University is going to give, that one will actually move our country to greater heights. I believe that as we launch the new program, the new university, that the corruption our president is talking about, that those people who are going to this new open learning should not be people with a corrupted mind. It should be a zero corruption zone. No one should actually interfere with it, so that it can reach every part of this country. And if that is done, then we shall not have hunger in Kenya. Then we shall not have problems of drug addicts in Kenya. Then we shall not have a problem of climate change in Kenya, because the new programs are coming with new things to counter the climate change. I believe that is what the new university is going to talk about, and it's going to spread, because now it's going to reach every corner of this country. So that my prayer is that we should support the president. We should support the Minister for Digitalization as he comes up with these programs, and also as he comes to check on people who can hack our programs, so that we can graduate at an opportune time. If it is 2 years, if it's 3 years, it should exactly be 3 years for our students. I think that is what we should go for this. And above all, that we wish our country to actually embrace the new administration. Because they have come with very good programs. The programs that are going to help us. Let us put politics aside.
All right.
Let us run a new journey.
Thank you so much. Peter Iyelo, who is a retired senior technologist at the University of Nairobi, was quite instrumental in the first open learning institution that the University of Nairobi had collaborated with Tanzania back in the days. But now we have our own right here in the country at the Konza Technopolis, where the president said that it is going to be opening up next month. Well, that's a wrap for the first hour. But when we come back, we are looking at the state of the nation. A lot is happening. Earlier on, I had mentioned the Cultural Week is happening, and we expect the president to be officially opening up that festival. A lot to talk about, and of course the politics of the day. Let's have a quick break. We'll be right back. Thank you, Banapita.
Thank you.